It is Sunday, March 22nd of 2020, and I did not think I would be making this video. Things are a little bit rough, but a lot of things are rough right now in the world. Today, I'm going to be making face masks. They're obviously not as good as the surgical face masks that are in short supply, but I feel that ethically I should leave all of the disposable mass-produced face masks for our healthcare workers. So I am making my own. Alright, first you're going to start with a pattern. It's going to look something like this, with a curve so it doesn't touch the bottom of your eye, but a point that goes up over your nose and rounds under the chin. There is a pattern listed on my blog that you can download, or you can make your own to fit your own face. This one, I've made my pattern out of a disposable tablecloth because it pins better, but you can use a piece of scrap paper to come up with them. Once you have your pattern, you'll need some cotton, some close weave cotton. I'm using a high thread count bed sheet. I have also seen people use the thick t-shirt material. You will need 4 of these mask pieces. Place them on the material. Pin them down. And with white fabric, you can trace around them with just a regular graphite pencil. Once you have them traced onto the fabric, cut them out. Until you have 4 of them. The best way to fit them onto the cloth, to use the least amount of fabric, is something like that configuration. You can actually get them very close together and get a lot of mask for your material. Next, place the mask into 2 stacks of 2. And pin down the rounded edge. Now we're actually going to make the ties. If you're using a ribbon or a string instead of sewn fabric ties, you can skip this step. The fabric ties should be at least 12 inches long. And as for the width, I just trace around a ruler. If you want to save time and you have a fairly large piece of fabric, you can not cut it into 12-inch lengths, but just keep it the width of the ruler for the entire length of all the ties that you're going to need. And you are going to need four ties, 4 mask parts. So going back to the masks, you're going to sew the curved edge that's going to go against your face. You're going to start at the tip of the nose and go all the way down under the rounded part of the chin. When you're done, you'll have 2 pieces that look like this. Match those 2 pieces up with the right sides together and the seams to the outside. It's best to match the middle and pin the top and the bottom of the mask, but leave the sides of the mask open. So as you can see, the raw seam is to the outside and the finished bit is to the inside. So then you're going to sew across the top and across the bottom. And now it should be in one piece like this. You're going to turn the mask inside out through the open edges. Now you're going to iron it open so that it looks nice and crisp. It's going to be a little bit tough with all of the curved edges. But this is a fairly fast and easy way to do the masks. I am cutting a lot of corners. If I were doing this to make them more fashionable, more pretty, more finished looking, I would have clipped the curves and I would have been a bit more careful with some of the finishing aspects. But currently, I am trying to get as many masks made as possible in the shortest amount of time, and I'm not caring if they reflect the height of my sewing ability. Once you have the mask ironed, you're going to add the wire. I've been using this coated plant tie. It's almost like a twisty tie, except I can choose how long it is and clip it. I have some florist wire when this runs out. I've seen other videos using fuzzy sticks, also less politically called pipe cleaners. Any bendable wire that is going to fit in there is worth trying. I'm going to measure enough wire to go over all of the curves of the mask and a little bit extra. It's better to have it just a little bit too long than too short. Once I have the wire piece, I'm going to fold it in half and gently kink the top. This is going to make it fit in the nose bridge better. Then I'm going to feed the wire between the mask pieces. And tuck the kink that I have made up in the very top of the nose bridge. Then I'll take a pin and pin just under the wire. I had considered a way to maybe string the wire through, but that did not seem as fast as sewing the wire in. There's also a consideration that this plant tie material, this twisty tie, it won't necessarily break my needle if I accidentally hit it. It most definitely will blunt it, and I might break a tip off, but I most likely won't have a catastrophic needle failure. Once you have pinned the top of the mask right underneath the wire to keep it in place, also pin the bottom of the mask. It should look something like this. Pinned across the top, pinned across the bottom, but the sides are still open and raw. So next you'll take it and you'll sew those parts till it looks something like this. Now, you're going to take the loose ends of the wire that should be sticking out, and you're going to bend them in between the two folds to make sure that they don't slip out when the mask is washed. And we're going to set the mask aside and work on the ties. So it's kind of like making your own bias tape. You're going to take the two sides and fold them into the center and iron them down. Once that's been completed, you're going to fold it into the inside and iron again. This should leave only folds open and no raw edges. This is done. Pin it. And run it through the sewing machine. Once it's been sewn, cut it down to the desired length. Again, you'll probably need at least 12 inches, but if you have a big head or big hair, you might want more. And take the mask. Now fold the raw edges of the mask in. Go ahead and give the wire another crimp when you do the fold, just to make sure it stays in there. And iron that in pretty good. Next, take the ties and insert them between the two sides of the mask and pin into place. And of course, you'll do this at each of the 4 corners. Then take the mask to the sewing machine and sew up the sides with the ties in between, and that should attach the ties to the mask. Once this is done, you can clip the threads that invariably are on anything that are on a sewing machine, and finish the raw edges of the ties. To do this, you'll fold the end over once, fold the end over twice, and keep it there with a couple of stitches. And there you have it. After you've finished all 4 ties, you have a face mask. And there you have it. If you have any questions about materials or the pattern or any other recommendations, please visit my blog at Just Another Day with Rose, and hopefully that ought to clear it up, or I'll answer any questions on the blog. Thanks.